The Sonic series has hundreds of characters ranging from games, movies, and comics. And a lot of characters never getting the spotlight ever again after appearing in one of those pieces of media. And the reasoning can truly vary on why we never see these characters return. I mean, just to list a few, it could potentially be not finding their place in the modern games, being a comic exclusive, or even death. But I think that one of the most notable and best characters that we never saw again after being in his respective game was E102 Gamma. Gamma has one of the most gut-wrenching stories within Sonic. And a lot of people, when talking about what characters has the best story inside the series, a lot of people, including myself, will immediately say Shadow. I mean, Shadow has one of the darkest and mysterious stories in gaming, but I think Gamma, on the other hand, deserves to be considered for one of the best stories we've ever received. But within this video, I'd like to talk about Gamma's story, but also give you my thoughts and feelings about the character known as E102 Gamma, and on why I think that he is truly the most pure of heart character that we've ever received inside of the Sonic series. So with that being said, let's talk about the story of Gamma. Gamma's story starts a little bit differently than the other playable characters in Sonic Adventure, where Gamma's story starts directly when he is powered on for the first time by his creator, Dr. Eggman. And the first thing that he ever truly sees is this man's face.
Get a load of this!
But immediately after learning who his creator is, Eggman has some tests for Gamma in order for him to stay upon the Eggman crew. And that test is to defeat his older brother, Beta, and the winner stays on board. But after defeating his brother, Eggman allows Beta to actually stay on board as he could use some quote-unquote spare parts, foreshadowing what happens to Beta later on. But moving on to Eggman's special announcement, where he gives a mission to Gamma and 3 of his brothers to find Froggy, who happened to swallow Chaos's tail and a Chaos Emerald. But fast forwarding a little bit more, Gamma actually finds and captures Froggy. But when touching him, he actually gets teleported to the past to meet Tikal in the Chow. And while at the altar, Tikal explains that she wishes her father wouldn't abuse the power of the Chaos Emeralds, and her true hopes for everyone to live in peace. And I think this is a big part of when Gamma starts to grasp more of a feeling what life is truly about. And in the process, gathering some of his own opinions on peace, and I think this explains a lot about Gamma's mission, but I'll get to his mission in just a little bit. Coming back to the present now, Gamma presents Froggy to Eggman, handing him over, and Eggman actually saying,
I'm proud of you, Gamma.
Which is pretty rare to see Eggman say that to any of his creations. But his other brothers are not so lucky, as Eggman kicks them off the ship and teleports them each to an unknown location. Afterwards, Eggman tells Gamma to retrieve a bird for him, but Gamma gets the idea to just skirt in the other direction and go through the wrong door, which leads him into seeing his brother Beta completely disassembled and being rebuilt. And you truly can understand what Eggman meant when he said he could use some spare parts. And I don't think Gamma really cares what's happening here to his brother, as all he can say is,
This is the wrong room.
I guess we'll just ignore our brother being torn apart. But anyway, Gamma then discovers Amy and the bird that Eggman wants him to retrieve. But after having a stare down with the bird, Gamma has second thoughts, and something causes him to set Amy and the bird free instead. Fast forwarding after getting a quick upgrade and fighting Sonic, Amy actually stops the fight between Gamma and Sonic in explaining that she knows he's not an evil robot and to stop fighting. So Gamma puts his weapon down, but after the egg carrier falls out of the sky, Gamma's real mission officially starts. Gamma, when flying through the air, comes to a realization that him and his brothers are made of flickies. And by simply existing with the flickies inside of them, they're robbing the flickies of their life and freedom. So in Gamma's mind, he says, My fellow Americans, we must fight! Fight for our brothers and release the birds so they can be united with their families once again! Something like that, right? But going back to what Tikal explained about her father to Gamma in the past, the chief wanted to take away a part of the Chow's freedom and use their power for his own purposes. And that's for the clan. But while he would have gained all of that power, he would have been taking away the freedom and the home of the Chow. And if you truly think about it, Gamma and his brothers are no different. While he has the flickies and he needs the flickies to live, him and the other E-Series bots are the same way taking away the freedom of the flickies. While this isn't Gamma and the other E-Series bots' fault they were made this way, Gamma understands that this is not right to use someone else's life for his own. So he goes ahead and deletes Eggman's master registration and heads to various locations inside the game and channels his inner Itachi Uchiha and slaughters all of his brothers. And with killing each of his brothers, freeing the Flicky inside of them, but after taking out 3 of his brothers, the last remained in E101 Beta. And at this point the game truly comes full circle. From the beginning in fighting Beta to the very end in fighting him again in hopes to freeing the Flickies. But when finding Beta aboard the egg carrier, he says,
Units remaining. Gamma.
And when Gamma says this, you know what has to be done. And after defeating Beta, you actually see the bird that was inside of him take a look and stare directly into Gamma. And with doing so, Gamma self-destructing allowed this bird to be reunited with his family once again. And this is truly one of the most heroic things that any Sonic character has ever done, period. And that's it for Gamma's story. The only other thing that I'd like to mention actually with inside of Sonic Adventure is actually the little detail that they decided to throw at the Supersonic ending for Gamma. When all the playable characters get together moments before Sonic transforms into Supersonic, you see Amy, instead of having her blue bird alongside her, actually having a pink bird that represents Gamma, as this is the exact bird that was inside of Gamma and was released when he self-destructed, showing that even though the robot doesn't exist anymore, that Gamma still lives on inside of this bird. And it's very possible that this bird has all the memories and saw everything through Gamma's eyes. And overall, this is just a really nice touch done by Sonic Team and something they definitely didn't have to do. And it's really a moment that can definitely fly over your head. No pun intended there. As playing this as a kid, I actually never really noticed this and was actually really curious on why there was a pink bird instead of the blue bird that you see alongside Amy in her story. But after revisiting this and watching the cutscenes of Gamma over again, it really makes sense on why Sonic Team did this. But that's truly all there is to say about the incredible story and also the most pure-hearted Sonic character of E102 Gamma. So, when it comes to my thoughts about the story and the character that is Gamma, how do I feel? Well, Gamma will always have a special place in my heart, and he truly leaves you with the story of happiness, but also sadness. Happiness in seeing that Gamma's final mission was complete in freeing all the captive birds and flickies used inside of the E-Series Eggman robots. But also sadness as we see the most pure-hearted Eggman robot to ever exist be lost forever, and truly be lost in all Sonic media. This guy has never come back. There are some iterations of Gamma in SA2 and Sonic Battle, but none of them being the real or true Gamma. My headcanon on the matter is that Eggman sees Gamma as one of his most loyal servants and was one of the most impressive robots he's made besides Metal Sonic. And he truly never saw Gamma turn his back on him, he just found a pile of self-destructed parts on the egg carrier. And I think that's the saddest part about Gamma's story is nobody knows what happened to him or what his mission was even about. Gamma did this all on his own because he did what was right and what he thought was right. And that was freeing all the flickies inside of his brothers. Nobody knows except the birds of the heroic act Gamma did. Not even Sonic, Amy, or even Eggman knew about this. The only thing that was left was just some parts left on the egg carrier that I'm imagining that Eggman found. But in a way that this shows how pure-hearted and how much of a true hero he was until the very end. But back on topic. I think Eggman builds robots hoping that they'll one day be as amazing and as loyal as Gamma was. And I think that's a big reason why we see so many robots have the appearance or even look similar to Gamma. And I think that the only reason he built Omega was the same idea in mind. I mean, Omega is part of the E-Series. It only makes sense that he tries to continue and try to recreate what Gamma was. And Omega even mentions Gamma and Beta inside of Heroes. When getting an E rank inside of Heroes with Omega, he mentions,
I couldn't even beat Gamma or Beta.
Which is pretty crazy and shows Eggman even programmed Omega to know about these two. And that's probably in hopes to be as strong and as loyal as Beta and Gamma both were to the Eggman Empire. Gamma is truly a special character in the Sonic series, and as much as I would like to see him return, I feel like it's just not the right thing to do. And I somewhat agree with Sega not bringing him back. I'd love to see him return, don't get me wrong, but for story purposes, it would truly defeat the purpose of his amazing sacrifice. And E102 Gamma will truly be remembered by every Sonic fan. But that's the story and my thoughts on why I think that Gamma is the most pure of heart Sonic character we have ever received.